Welcome to Eligible Monster. So last night I was playing through the Assassin's Creed DLC and I cried like a baby, and I'm going to tell that story to Natalie. And I said, Dan, find me a good list for the day. And he found the top 10 biggest emotional moments in video games. And so we're going to do that as well. And I want to see what you guys think of. My moment is more emotional than any of these.
Right. More than Gears of War?
I actually had tears coming down my face.
More than Gears of War?
More than Gears of War.
I'm pretty sure.
Not even on this 10 list.
It's not?
No. Well, Dan found the top 50 biggest emotional moments. We're going to do the first 10 and then decide maybe we'll do more later, whatever.
Right.
He's doing the top 10 of them, though.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you slight spoilers for a side story in Assassin's Creed Odyssey DLC. Right now, I'm blitzing through all 3 chapters of the DLC Fate of Atlantis to be able to talk about it and tell you about it and things like that.
Right.
Real quick, it's amazing. If you liked all the mystical stuff, it's all it is. Mystical, weird stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But do you remember in the main game, and I hit you up briefly on Discord and said I was like all caps and blubbering and stuff.
I told my people on stream because I had no idea, because you were just hitting me up and I just saw 6 back-to-back messages. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Okay.
And it was just you just typing a bunch of nonsense to me. So
okay, so in the main game, when you're playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and the first island, you meet a little girl named Phoebe.
Yes.
And Phoebe you work with, and she's like your little kid sidekick, and you get attached to her, be it Cassandra or Alexios or whatever, right?
And then she gets left behind, right?
She gets left behind because you leave the initial island,
right?
But then she finds a way to get back to Greece to come with you,
yes.
But she ends up working for somebody, and so she's in Greece when the assault happens, and she ends up dying in Greece. I said this is spoilers for the main game, but the main game is like a year old now. So
she does? I don't remember this.
So you make a decision and they tell you that Phoebe's going to die, and I looked it up. There's no way to save her. No matter what you decide in that decision, she will die. But she's trying to run away from the soldiers. Huh?
Not with that attitude.
Yeah. So she can't outrun the soldiers. She ends up dying. Alexios / Cassandra will show up and be like, "No, Phoebe," and he gets all upset about it.
I think I remember, yeah.
Okay.
And
then Phoebe's gone, and it's supposed to basically represent one of those things of your character's motives, like, are causing the death of their friends and things like that.
Right.
It's part of Greek tragedy. You know, they try to make the whole story a Greek tragedy, and a part of that Greek tragedy is Phoebe's death. Mm-hmm. So that was the end of that, and I was like, okay, that's the end of Phoebe, and you can't revive her, and there's a couple other sad moments in that game, but that was probably one of the worst. So you go to Elysium, and Elysium is basically heaven, is what it boils down to.
Right.
Okay, and you do an entire first part of the storyline there, and you don't really run into too many people you know in Elysium.
Right.
But when you get to Hades and you go to hell, you start running into people. So you run into like the Cyclops and things like that you've been in. Oh. And like I said, this is spoilers for the DLC. And I'm about to say, but I'm not going to say the main plot. I'm telling you a side story. Mm-hmm. So as you're going through, you end up running into Phoebe. Okay?
Hell?
In hell. So you run up on her and she's there and she's like, and Alexios is like, Phoebe! And he runs over to her and she's like, who are you? And she doesn't know who you are. Mm-hmm. And she asks who the eagle is, and you're like, oh, the eagle. And she apparently took the Leth water that you had in Elysium to make people forget things. So she was forced to take the water to forget all of her memories, which includes you and everything she did on the real world. Mm-hmm. She doesn't even know she's dead, and she's in hell, and you don't know what's going on. So you go in the first part of the adventure, which is to lead her off and get her memories back by getting them wiped out. And you get them back. And then, so first off, it's already heartbreaking because Alexios, the voice acting, everything is perfect because he's all upset that she doesn't remember him. Mm-hmm. And he's already sad because she died and it's his fault and everything. So you go on this whole adventure basically to get her memories back. And then when you get her memories back, she starts remembering everything. And the big thing she keeps saying is, why did you leave me? What happened? But then you have to tell her she died because she's not aware she's dead. So you have to tell her she died and it's your fault. And you can decide what options you're going to do with that. And it gets even sadder because now she realizes that she's dead and that she's in hell. And you're like, why are you in hell, Phoebe? Well, it turns out she's looking for her family. Her family was in Elysium, and for some reason they were in hell, so she went to hell, and she was tricked into taking the water. So now you go on an adventure to find her family, which boils down to you running into the Cyclops, and the Cyclops kidnapping her. Now, there was a slight weird moment where he's like, I gotta go save Phoebe. She, basically acting like she's gonna die again. And I'm like, Alexio, she's kind of already dead, but okay, I get where we're going with this.
Still.
So you gotta go save the spirit of Phoebe from everything that's going on. And she's already kind of upset and like it's going through this whole big emotional roller coaster. And you end up like linking up a bunch of things and you end up finding her back at your original home in the original island. with Cyclops and the goat that has his eye, which was kind of a funny moment.
That's awesome.
The goat shows up, and
Yeah.
you get all pissed off because he's like, well, I've already been torturing Phoebe, because she's a spirit. He's been torturing her, apparently.
Right.
So she's already reliving the memories. She's been tortured. You fight the Cyclops again. You kill him off. The goat's wandering off doing its own thing at this point. I found it. It wandered off onto a beach, and I'm like, I found a goat. And you go back, and you run from your house to the scene where she originally died, and you've let her die again because you couldn't save her in time, and the Cyclops killed her. So once again, Alexios breaks down. He's all upset, and I'm like, dude, what is going on? This is so sad. You had to basically have her die a second time. Since she's already dead, she gets up. Eventually wakes up and she's okay because she can't die a second time.
Right.
But then she wants to know why everyone's leaving her. Why is her family leaving her? Why did Alexios leave her? Why did everyone let her die? Why did no one come to save her in the underworld? Everything. And you're just like, oh, this poor little girl. Bear in mind, Phoebe's supposed to be 13 in the game. So she is this little kid.
Yeah.
And it's this whole big emotional roller coaster where you're just like, no. And you have all the options coming up. And you're given the option to wipe her memories again if you don't want her to remember everything that's happened to her.
Honestly, it's probably the best option.
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it.
No, I told her I'm going to be back. It's going to be a very long time, but I'll meet you in Elysium. And so basically you send her off.
How are you going to pull that off?
Huh?
How are you going to pull that off?
Well, he does die eventually.
No, how are you going to, because she's in hell, right?
So she's not supposed to be in hell. She's supposed to be in Elysium. She came down looking for her family. So then it finds out that the whole thing was some kind of weird trick and the family's actually in Elysium. So we open up a portal. She can go back to Elysium.
Okay.
But then she doesn't want to go back because she doesn't know if the family got rid of her the first time. She doesn't know if they're going to love her. But she wants to stay with Alexios. And Alexios is like, well, I can't stay here. We're in the underworld. So he's like, go to your family. They're going to love you. And I will be back. It's going to be a very long time. Because if you know the timeline, Alexios stays alive until current day. So he's got a long life to live.
Yeah.
Or Cassandra, whichever one you played.
Yeah.
All the way up to that. But anyway, he's like, I'll be back, but I'll see you. And I'll see you in Elysium. It's going to be a very long time, but I'll be back. And so you convince her to go through the portal and everything. And it was such a sad moment and everything that was going through. And I'm all upset because I'm like, why does she got to die again? Why is she so sad? And it turns out, and this is a big kind of spoiler for that side quest, but there was a bet by certain individuals in the plot to see if you would wipe her memories out or not, or if you would send her off.
Bets?
Yeah.
That's wrong,
The gods are betting against you in the underworld and everything. So it was awesome. It was incredible. And I think the only reason why it was emotional to begin with is because you had the whole initial. If you didn't play the game and didn't experience her death, it wouldn't mean anything.
Right. The way you described it, though, I feel like that DLC would have made a better game.
So far, I've been playing it with somebody else in our community on our Discord,
Yeah.
Kinster, and we both agreed this could have been an entirely separate game.
Right.
Every area has its own mechanics and everything.
That's what I mean.
It's incredible. It really is. It's a full second game, basically. And I'll talk about that when I talk about that game more when I finish the last chapter to give you my full impressions and explain the whole thing to you. But yeah, that quest alone took me 4 or 5 hours because I'm also doing other things in the maps.
4 or 5 hours is enough for a full game. Yeah.
It took the entirety of Hades took me 10 hours yesterday, and I skipped a bunch of quests.
Right.
Pretty much just did Phoebe and the ones for the quest line, and then moved on. It's long, and you're running around doing extra things. They added additional mercenaries to go. I'll talk all about it in a different video.
Now, does it make more sense now that when Ubisoft did not announce anything AC related?
Well, no, because I'm wondering what's going to happen after that. But like I said, we'll talk about more about that when I do a full rundown. I got to do the last chapter for supposedly it's the best one yet. So we've already had an amazing.
Really?
Yeah. Because now I'm in Atlantis. Yeah, so we're the actual, not the rundown one in the game.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah.
So that leads us to our list.
Yes.
Top 10 times that it was emotional. The first couple, I don't know if you're gonna. I did not play Telltale's Walking Dead. Did you?
A couple of episodes, yes.
Okay, in the first season, the sad scene of the young Clementine walking alone. Did you find that emotional?
Well, it was the first season, and it was a couple of episodes in, so I didn't have the time to get attached really per se.
Okay.
I could see why some people could find it, it's a little girl, so.
Right.
It's just like you did, basically, with AC. When it's a little girl, you just get attached. And
I got attached. I wanted Phoebe to be okay. And then she was just, the little comments, why does nobody care about me? Why does everyone abandon me? And I'm like, I mean, technically I did.
Yeah.
I left you on the island, and then you came back. And I was like, well, I got to go save the day.
Yeah. You did. I mean, you had a good reason, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could see why, though. Those Telltale games can get really, really sad, namely Tales from the Borderlands for me. I went from laughing to shedding a tear, so, yeah.
Number 9 is Jenny's Death in the Darkness. I didn't actually play The Darkness.
I played The Darkness too.
Did Jenny die in that one?
Probably not.
All right. I will say this one. As a kid, when this game came out, I know number 8. I remember this very well as one of the more moving moments in video games when I was a kid. Shadow of Colossus, Farewell to Aggro. That's the horse. And on one of the final Colossi, when you're going for the final battles, the Aggro like basically falls off, trying to save you. So he's blitzing, and you got to jump off of him, basically. And he falls to his death. The horse that you've been riding the whole time.
That sounds to me like, oh God.
It signals the end of the game because it's after jumping onto a collapsing bridge, Aggro realizes the end is near. However, in a last heroic effort, he flings the rider to safety only to fall to a watery grave. Kind of signals you're at the end game, basically, because you don't have a horse anymore.
That's awful, dude.
The next one, I think I've told this story before, and maybe you didn't, but 7 is The Journey.
Journey the game?
Journey the game.
Yeah, dude. It's great because you never know who you're teaming up with.
Right.
And it was awful.
You and I
to
didn't
me.
even play it together.
No.
It was one of those weird games that was like on sale.
Even if we had, we wouldn't be able to tell because it doesn't tell you.
Right. Well, it was one of those games that was on sale, and I remember buying it, and I didn't know what the game was. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was going into, and I think that was the best way to experience Journey.
Absolutely.
I went into it, and then another person appeared, and I didn't know what they were, and we stayed together for the entire journey. Like, it was like the second area they jumped in and were signaling to each other. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm having a blast, you know? And I didn't know the game was so short. So we're just playing for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
And in the final thing, when you're going to the mountain, like you see your partner just kind of fall back. And I'm like, no, we've done the whole thing together.
Yeah. I remember that too. Yeah.
And then they were gone. And I was sad.
It was probably one of the best games I've played, to be honest.
It really is. I kind of want to do it again. It's not that long of a title.
It's great. Yeah.
The next one, number 6, is the nuclear explosion in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Your team makes it to a mad dash to rescue a downed pilot as no one gets left behind. However, it's all for naught as a nuclear explosion sends your aircraft crashing to the ground. The real emotional heft, however, comes afterwards, with Jackson crawling around the devastation only to succumb to his wounds. Yeah, the Call of Duty games back in the day when they did very solid plot lines always had that one moment that would shake you up and just make you realize the ride you're in for.
Yeah.
I do remember that. That one was not as moving as another one that's on the list. I'll just jump to it because it's 2 down. No, it's the No Russian mission, where you're undercover and you have to kill civilians. It's the one mission. It started the trend of them doing that one over-the-top mission that they give you the option to skip if you don't want to experience it. But yeah, it basically, you go and you kill a bunch of civilians and stuff like that. And both of those are kind of emotional, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this moments, you know.
They didn't say anything about Ghost?
No, Ghost Death must have been one of the other ones because it's not on this list.
Because for me, it was a shocker when I experienced that, for sure.
Number 5 is the death of Joel's daughter at the start of Last of Us.
I don't understand it, man.
Why?
Because you literally just start the game and you're like, yeah, he has a family, and then his kid dies. And
it's just the way they handled it, though. He's trying so hard to save her, only to lose her because of that bullet that he wasn't even expecting.
I know. And it sucks, man, but it wouldn't make me cry, though.
I thought it was sad. I didn't cry to it, but I did find it sad. The death of the daughter.
And then he tries to replace her with Ellie.
Yep. Number 3, I think, has emotional impact for me because I didn't know it was coming, but the death of Aerith in Final Fantasy VII. See, it's different for you.
Yeah.
You knew it was going to happen, so when we played it on stream... I could see that, just
because you spend 8 hours, at least 8 hours. It's an RPG.
And you don't know that I didn't know she was going to die.
Right.
I also didn't know that... I also was like, there's no way she's going to stay dead. We have like these Phoenix Downs and potions and stuff.
And it's my only healer too, so
she's my healer, so of course they're not going to remove her from the game.
Yeah.
They did. Those assholes.
Yeah.
A lot of Final Fantasy still ask, why did Aerith have to die?
Isn't there like some kind of it was some video or an article about how you could potentially revive her?
It was a rumor, and since the internet was young in the day, and like no one could
confirm or deny it. Yeah.
The rumor was one of the play testers didn't understand why nobody was reviving her, and then explained the method to do so, and they discovered that Square had removed that method. And so there was a whole petition to get them to re-release the version that has the way to revive Aerith.
That's how they wanted to. That's the story they wanted to tell. If you're not happy about it, just.
Yep, that's how I've always said about those. Like you may not agree with an ending or a plot twist.
That's their
vision. It might
not
be the one you wanted, but you didn't create that story.
Exactly.
So.
Yep.
Number 2 is Baby Metroid Saves the Day. I don't remember this one. Super Metroid. I didn't play Super Metroid. I played regular Metroid. Samus Aran finds herself overcome by the monstrous Mother Brain, and just when it's about to deliver the final blow, the baby Metroid that Samus rescued earlier appears, sucking the life out of the large adversary. Mother Brain reawakens, kills the baby, giving the heroic bounty hunter the chance to deliver the sweet revenge. Baby Metroid, we barely knew you.
We barely knew ye.
And the last one on this list, and I'll agree, this one, I saw it coming the whole way into the game, but even when it happened, I was still kind of like, the end of James Marsden and Red Dead Redemption 1.
Yeah, I mean,
you knew it was coming the whole game.
That's the only Red Dead I've played, actually. Well, I've told you that I played half of Red Dead 2, and apparently the ending of Red Dead 2 kind of just makes the fans of Red Dead 1, basically even more sad now, because it's true. I mean, it's basically. Well,
Link's in as a prequel, so everyone's basically back. Yay! Yeah. Oh no!
Exactly, because it gives meaning. Yeah, it gives meaning to it because you know it's coming in the first one. So
for those guys who don't know the death of James Marsden, for those who didn't play Red Dead Redemption, basically the entire game you're trying to redeem yourself. You meet death. He kind of foreshadows your coming death. It's a Western. It ends with everyone shooting you, but it's in true Western style. On the way down, you can take out as many people as you can as you die.
But it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter because there's just too many.
Yeah.
And you eventually die. And it's true Western fashion. And all Western fans know every Western movie has to end that way.
Sure. I did not see it coming at all.
Did you not? Really?
No, I didn't.
Maybe it's because I watch Western movies. Like, that's your traditional Western tale.
Because it was at the very end, dude.
Well, yeah, but at the very end is when that happens.
Yeah, everything seems to be just doing just
How many Western movies have you watched with me? You get to the ending and people start dying. You're like, oh well, so much for that old widow on the farm.
Not all of them.
She's going to have a good time now with the 5 kids that the husband left her with. Oh, well.
Right.
What? Okay, so I told you my most recent emotional. We gave the list. Mm-hmm. In the last couple of minutes of this, how many do you got? What do you have? What? Give me an emotional thing.
For me, I got emotional at the end of Metro Exodus, even though I had a good ending.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even play Metro Exodus. Well, I started it and I was having issues with the PC version, and I never went back and finished it.
I was streaming it too, so I was like, we're gonna end right there. Yeah. Yeah.
That was your more recent,
that
emotional
was definitely
moment?
more recent. Yeah, and then also Days Gone, because towards the end they make you think that one of the characters you've been doing most missions with is dead, and then it just comes back later. But
that ruins it.
It's Days Gone. If you come on, dude, it's been like 3-4 months, 5 months.
That kind of reminds me of that. We just watched that movie of the survival movie. The guy that they didn't talk the whole movie. He got lost in the Arctic and he had to find his way out. And there's no talking. At the very ending, you're like, they died. It's over. And then as just before the credits roll, you hear the helicopter and you're like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I can tell you about the more recent one. I don't know.
I'm conflicted. I'm happy he survived, but it was such a solid ending.
I can tell you about one that I just played, but I think it's Blair Witch.
Oh, you probably shouldn't talk about it. Well, you can.
No, it's fine because I mean, people know that if they've played it anyway, and if they haven't, then they probably won't at this point.
Okay.
But you basically team up with your dog the entire playthrough.
Yeah.
And then something happens to your dog, and you just end up carrying him for like a solid 15 to 20 minutes, just walking around in a circle, and him just whimping. So I just had to take my headphone out. I was like, I can't. I don't know what decision. Who made the decision? Who made that call to have this specific scene? Because it was kind of pointless. But it's just like you're just walking around with your dog whimping for 15 minutes. So I was like, no, I can't do it.
It's sad.
Yeah.
This episode made me sad. What was the saddest moment in games for you guys? What was kind of an emotional moment for you, emotional roller coaster? Let us know in the comments down below. Yes. If you want more Natalie, find her over at her Twitch channel, twitch.zodicalcandy or twitch.tv/zodicalcandy.
Yes. That's better.
Or right here at Eligible Monster. Let us know other games you want us to play, discussions you want us to have. And I'll see you next time right here. I'm always on this channel. So
thank you.